There's something about a Komodo dragon. Basically explaining here is if the male is not manly enough, then the female will show him who's boss. And much like in my house.
Let's see. Big baby.
It hurts. We just want to witness this, and that's what we're doing right now. We are back with Oppie. It's been a while. Last time I was here at the farm, we got to see their new male Komodo dragon. Of course, I'm with Jim Darlington. We've got prepared a meal for Oppie, and here he comes, potentially. Let's see. We're taking precautions here, but now I'm really appreciative of what you've done to allow us to actually be in the enclosure while the animal eats. Now, obviously, we don't want this animal to associate humans with food immediately. Do you know what I mean? Like, how would I explain that?
Yeah, so
we don't want to be see him handing him the food.
Right, we're present while he's eating. We just don't want him to see the food leaving tongs or our hands directly.
And here he comes. Look at this guy. I love monitor lizards. I don't care if it's in Asian water, but there's something about a Komodo dragon that is just incredible. And he's gotten a little bit bigger for sure.
Absolutely.
And the males tend to be larger than the females?
Yeah, and we've been upping his diet. So we've been watching him, and we'll take it up 1/3 again, and we're like, oh, that's not enough. Take it up 1/3 again, and it's still not enough. So now we've probably a good half again as much starting this week.
And these guys, do you think, like other monitors, they seem to run high? They seem to have a high metabolism.
Yeah.
There's a lot of brain power in this animal.
Oh yeah, it's a thinker. You can tell when it looks at you.
Yeah, and that's I've often said so many times on my channel, that is why, I'm very excited about keeping monitors, because of that intelligence, because of that. You see them working things out in their brain. They're an interesting animal to work with.
Which we're bragging about him. He looks funny with his.
Yeah, he's got a little cotton mouth there. My gosh.
So see, you can see and I kind of like this. See how we're in here and he's hesitant? Because usually he would be digging at that. This is unusual for us to be in here watching him this closely. So I take that as a good sign that he's just not flat out, coming and sniffing our ankles.
Gotcha. Yeah. Plus that white shield you have right here could also, be. That's different. Also,
I was going for the brown shield, but I couldn't find it.
You couldn't find it. Let's see. Check this out. I do love this. Look at how he's very tentative, Jim.
Yeah, he's definitely a little standoffish with us being in here.
Now, will he consume? How much of the rabbit have you seen him consume?
So we don't usually give him something quite so large, but I know that if I compare him to bigger ones that we've fed, he could eat 1/3 of that.
1/3.
And I mean, like if your dog breaks into the dog food and it's bloated, that kind of thing.
Gotcha. But in nature, these animals are gorgers. They will gorge themselves. You guys can see, if you look at the animal, he's got this fold right by his stomach. After a meal, that fold is going to be completely gone. And in the wild, these guys will make a kill. One animal might bite, a goat, a deer, even a water buffalo. Eventually that animal will succumb. And again, really quickly, look at what he's doing with his jaws. Okay, he's sawing right now. That's amazing. This is what's so cool, Jim. I really, really appreciate being a fly on the wall here. Look at that, sawed it right off. That is outstanding. You wouldn't. I don't know why I'm so shocked. It's amazing. Nature works.
You expect them. It's interesting because they're not violent with it.
Right.
They just go up and they go back and forth and back and forth. It's just like it reminds me of Hannibal Lecter just eating something
with a little Chianti and fava beans. Yeah, you sure you didn't want to name him Lecter?
Right.
Because he's doing a heck of a job. But you're right. He is very methodical, and he's able to just kind of take those teeth and he just shreds it off. This is incredible.
And it's cool that nobody showed him.
That is true.
Mama didn't show him how to do that. He just does it.
Well, that's an interesting thing. You talk about reptiles. They're kind of born into this. Instinctually, they are really. I hate to use the word program because I'm sure there are some things these animals do in fact learn, but the basics of survival are hardwired into their reptilian brains, and that's why I have so much respect and love for them, because you take a human primate and or any primate, we're very helpless at birth. These animals, they're born ready.
Yep, hits ground running.
Yeah. I love that. He almost like a shark on the land. You see how he circles his prey and that body language he's got? It's fascinating to be here doing this. Guys, I'm really freaking out because it's a Komodo dragon. It's one of my dream lizards. It's the pinnacle of lizarddom, if you will. I'm going to go ahead and crouch down with him.
Sneak in here.
Yeah, we're just, we just want to witness this, and that's what we're doing right now. And I'm sure, Jim, you're having as much fun as I am.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is so cool. So
we are not in my way.
Yeah. We are sharing space with, one of the most impressive animals in the reptile world, and that is the Komodo dragon. And this male, you hope to pair with your female.
Yeah.
So how long before a male like this will become sexually mature?
I think he's probably got, I would say, 2.5 to 3 more years.
Okay.
And then maybe even a little longer to have the appropriate size to him. So he'll be mature, but he might not be big enough yet.
Okay. And of course,
because our female's bigger and she's still growing, of course.
Gotcha. And so that's concern for his safety when you introduce them.
Because when you put boy girl together, sometimes it can be pretty rough.
Gotcha.
The male has to kind of dominate the female. Sometimes there's a lot of biting around the back of the neck, and sometimes it turns into the face.
Okay.
And if the female doesn't submit, so the male has to be able to, just his size, kind of push her down on the ground. And then if he can't do that, then she may be able to put up a better fight.
Gotcha.
So he needs to mentally say, hey, I'm the big boy here, and so finally she'll just go, okay, I'm not gonna put up an argument.
It's kind of, I am going to be receiving a croc monitor male for a female that's with tail. She's 5 foot, but I was told that in many instances the female can actually kill the male.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what Jim's basically explaining here, is if the male is not manly enough,
right,
then the female will show him who's boss.
Right. And
much like in my house. I don't know how it is in the Darlington home.
Oh, yeah.
But I am not the boss, and that's okay, because you don't want me running anything.
Yeah, I hear you. And the thing about these two is that it's a Komodo dragon. It's not the easiest thing for your zoo to get, and there's a certain conservation value, monetary value. So when you're going to introduce your boy and a girl, you can't just have the attitude, well, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Right.
You don't want to be out of lizard. So.
Correct. Yeah, you got to be careful for the animal's well-being. But this is, I am. The only thing better than this would be for me to be in Komodo.
Oh, yeah.
And just sitting out in the bush watching a couple of dragons tear into a goat. This is really cool. And right now, Matt is manning the camera.
It's so good.
It's so good. Matt's loving this, right?
I can't wait till you see what I'm looking at.
Yeah, Matt, just so you know, Matt is an artiste, He's getting the shots. I hope you guys are enjoying him. Look at this big piece of flank that this animal's pulling off. The other good thing is here, with the size of the prey you're giving him, it's enrichment. This is actually an enriching thing, because the animal has to figure, how am I going to devour this? What muscles am I going to use? Look at those forearms. I mean, really look at the strength. Now, size that animal up to a full-grown male Komodo dragon, and you can see why they became the most dominant animal on their island.
Right.
I mean,
sometimes when they get on their basking log and strike a pose, they look ripped. I mean, you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah, they do. They have the big biceps, and their forearms look like Popeye the Sailor Man. I have to bring my man Slinky into this. He's an Asian water monitor. He's so picturesque, and he's so, he's such a statuesque animal. But put the largest Asian water monitor up against a medium-sized dragon.
Oh yeah.
And it's just it's a totally different animal. And here in Florida, guys, it is a class 1 animal. Fish and Wildlife classifies certain animals in tiers. There's class 3, which are animals that really aren't harmful. Class 2, like my alligators in Cayman. And class 1, which would be crocodilians, rhinos, elephants, things that can kill you quick. These guys are class 1, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, they're class 1. So this is an animal that, could be potentially lethal at full size. We also have to talk a little bit about their mouths. And when I was young, I was always taught it's bacteria, but we found that it's actually, there's some venom in there.
Yeah, venom and bacteria and just the sheer steak knife teeth that they have. Yeah.
So when you get bit by this, or a water buffalo gets bit, it's opening a wound, a very injurious wound, and into that wound is going bacteria and venom. The venom is anticoagulant, so you're going to bleed a lot. And then that bacteria, these animals' mouths, even crocodilians have, you look at a crocodile or alligator, basically you're not inside that animal until you're through the flap.
Right.
So that is still the outside of a croc. So if you're living in a fetid swamp, all those bacteria in the water are now in you when you get bit. Not necessarily the same thing here. The bacteria that are living in there, have they done any cultures of what strands?
Sure,
I would love to know. If anyone's out there and can Google, I'd love to know what kind of nasty bacteria they've found in the mouths of Komodo dragons, because that dying, the buffalo get brought down not by the dragon itself, but by the effects of the bite.
Yeah, so, and sometimes they'll have to follow the prey a good ways.
Yeah, and that's that monitor. That forked tongue, that Jacobson's organ. These animals are a monitor in every way. They are the king of the monitor lizards. King of the lizards, man. I could sit here. I'm going to just sit here and relax for a bit. I want you guys to watch some of the footage, match shooting, and let's just really enjoy what we're witnessing unfettered. And I'm really thankful, Jim, that you're allowing us this access. This is amazing, man. What would be, this is like a dream. All right, I know I'm dreaming, but I wonder, are there privates that work with, I don't know, how do you get a Komodo dragon?
Chris Dieter?
Yeah.
Chris Dieter predominantly he works with AZA facilities, right. And he has some hoof stock, but mostly his Nile crocodiles, but he has several species, but I think he's got Komodo dragons in the works.
Wow. Good for him, man. That's awesome. And, it just shows you that if you build really good, strong ties, there are privates out there. And that's what I try and do. I'm trying to build my name over the years and years, obviously with the Turtle Survival Alliance and relationships with Bronx Zoo myself and some of the other zoos. There is a need for responsible keepers that have means, that have space, that can work with zoological institutions to help further the species plan that's set in place. And that's the SSP, right? The Species Survival Plan?
Yeah, and not just that, but to trust the person and not being a loose cannon with their animals, and having some common sense. And
you hit the nail on the head. Like so many times, like obviously I'm a YouTuber. Okay, right. It's funny. Like I don't think of myself as that, but that's what I do. I'm a YouTuber. And sometimes there's a negative connotation with being a YouTuber in the animal space, because so many of them are doing things for shock value and views. And, I made a conscious decision years ago to just be what I am, because I have these relationships. Because I have relationships with your institution here at the Gator Farm and Bronx Zoo and San Diego Zoo, and they trust me. And I think I just want to impress upon any young people that are looking to get into this game, the YouTube game, do it right. Be professional, because there's a need, number one, for good information getting out there and good practices, which is why I come here and I learn, the whole reason we don't want to just be up on that animal is we don't want him to really think of us as waiters.
Right.
Because it's more dangerous for you when you have to do something or shift the animal, because we've seen before, and I've personally been in situations with Komodo dragons. Hey, Tom, say hello to everyone. There's Tom over there. We've personally been in a situation where the animal got extremely excited. We were at a zoological institution. A large female, she was about 6.5 foot. When we went to the door to open it to feed her, she was already at the door. We thought she was far away. So the keeper opened the door and she was at the door, saw the rats, came into the service area. And if it wasn't for the fact that we were on tile, okay, or a very non-grippy surface, Tom probably would have been bit. Right, Tom? It was pretty nuts. He was this good. But turns out Tom in his advanced years, this was about 10 years ago. We were still advanced in years then. Tom got away quick, and his son, who was 12 at the time, had the door wide open. Dad, come on! It was a melee. It was craziness. But it shows you how fast things with animals can go from calm to intense. And keeping your calm is always, and keeping a level head. You know, you've been in situations that are quite frankly scary, and you've kept your head. And what do you attribute? How does one learn to do that?
Experience.
Experience.
I think it's experience. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I don't. You know, you get experience, and then thus getting an experience, you get older. So sometimes I like to think I'm not as reckless as I might have been when I'm early 20s, but at the same time, I've gotten more experience, and the years just came with it.
Gotcha.
So I don't think it's the years, I think it's the experience.
Gotcha.
So you can have a lot of exposure when you're 18, 19, up through, say, mid-20s, and be experienced. You don't have to be 40 to be experienced.
Gotcha.
You can get so it's all about that.
Look at this. Well, I think he wants to rub his face. That's so funny. He's got a big piece, and it's a little difficult for him to get it down. So he's just like Slinky does. They'll kind of rub their face and angle the food and try. I've seen Slinky push food down his mouth. In fact, I'll tell you a quick story. I'm not proud of this, but one of I had on the opposite side of his enclosure, the whole enclosure had a perimeter footing, but there was a divider in the middle that the footing didn't go down deep enough. So what had happened was I had flavomarginata. I had Chinese box turtles living on the opposite side. One got into Slinky's enclosure, kind of a larger subadult. My wife calls me, Slinky's eating one of the Chinese turtles. I said, oh my God, get it out of his mouth. They're in danger, get it out of his mouth. And she's like, I'm not touching him. She said he was literally taking the turtle, ramming it against a rock, trying to shove an entire turtle down his throat. Slinky's a bit of a character. We got to get you down to the house to see it. I'd love to see what you think of it. But we did, I said, just poke Slinky, he'll get annoyed and drop the turtle. And he did in fact do that. And you can rest assured I changed Slinky's habitat. In fact, Slinky doesn't live there anymore. He's got his own kingdom.
That would be quite the difficult thing to pass.
Unreal, right? But these guys do have incredible digestive enzymes, don't they? Similar to serpents and crocs, right?
So we had fed a Komodo dragon like the back, say, left quarter panel of a large roadkill deer, and he got the hip thigh part in his mouth, but there was about a foot of the leg ending in the hoof sticking out of his mouth, and he was already full. So he goes to sleep that night basking with almost a foot of deer leg sticking out of his mouth. And then you look the next day, and it's in about 3 or 4 more
inches. Get out of here.
And then you look the next day, it's in like 3 or 4 more inches. He had to sit there
and let it digest to swallow the rest of it.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And then finally it softens up enough where he could push his face into the side of the enclosure like Slinky was doing.
Oh my God.
And then you come in like the 5th day and you just see the hoof just inside his mouth.
That's hysterical. That's what I mean. That's experience. Being able to see these things take place, that just gave you a bit of a lesson, didn't it?
Oh yeah.
You know, you learn more sometimes just by sitting watching your animals than you can in any book. So that's the shot right there. That is just the entrails hanging out. That is like we're in Indo.
You have a little bit.
Yeah, there's something there. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, I think we've got some incredible footage and some incredible knowledge from Jim. I really appreciate it, Jim. It's always a pleasure to be up here. I love this place, you know I do. And thanks for doing this, man.
Of course.
Guys, let him know in the comments below you appreciate this access that he's giving us, because I can tell you, not everybody gets this, so I'm pretty happy about it. Thank you.
Good times.
All right, man. We'll see you soon.